Welcome to the Herd's official YouTube channel. Make sure to like and subscribe. Don't forget to check out the Colin Cowherd podcast, all of our NFL instant reactions, and more football content.
Here we go. It's hour number 2 on a Monday. Playoffs, baseball playoffs, Dodgers tonight, Brewers. Mariners take a 1-0 lead in Toronto over the Jays. Bit surprising considering the highly emotional series the Mariners just escaped from. Wild weekend of college football. Is Indiana the best team in college football? Penn State fires their coach. J-Mac, it was I sat in front of a TV for a lot of the weekend. It's getting to be, it's crazy time. Yeah. It's like you get to the point now, people are going to start getting fired with NIL in the portal. There's so much money in college football. It would have been, you would have never considered firing a coach a year after he won 13 games because he lost 3 close games in a row. But that's the world we live in now. It's like college football feels more pro than ever.
And he was in the semifinal in overtime against the Irish. By the way, how did you go an hour without mentioning USC's romp over Michigan? What happened? Lincoln Riley's waiting for the props.
I will say they pushed Michigan around. That is what you have to do. Now they have to go on the road against Notre Dame, where they're like an 8-point dog and should be. I don't know if they're built to beat Notre Dame. Weather's getting a little chilly in the Midwest, but they pushed Michigan around. It wasn't that they won; it was how they won. Yeah. They won in the trenches with a third-string walk-on running back. King Miller was unbelievable. Here we go. Colin right, Colin wrong on a Monday.
Where Colin was right?
Well, when the Eagles started 4-0, I said, they got a coaching issue. You can't tell me they're beat up and injured. A lot of teams are beat up and injured. They had a players-only meeting, and A.J. Brown sort of denied it. I don't buy the Philadelphia Eagles. They're in trouble. Right now, they're 28th in yards per rush, 25th in the NFL in total offense. Even when they were winning, I said, this isn't going to last. This is the drip, drip, drip. And last week, we saw the faucet burst.
Where Colin was wrong.
Firing James Franklin, I don't know. I don't get it. Apparently, insiders at Penn State are saying it was untenable. But I will tell you, he'd won 10-plus games in 3 straight seasons. Are you telling me if he beats UCLA at the end of the game, you'd keep him? It feels very reactionary to me. Again, they're a play away from beating Notre Dame last year. What did they finish? 5th in the country? But this is the world we live in. Get rid of the coach if there's any questions. And I just don't like the way it looks. I was wrong. I would have never guessed this.
Where Colin was right?
The Pittsburgh, MVP Baker Mayfield. Yeah, a couple weeks ago I said, I think he's MVP. He's never been this good. And again, players get better. Players get worse. They regress. Look what's happened to Justin Fields. Baker is better now. He was good early. He didn't play with this confidence. He's got nothing to work with. Bucky Irving, Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, Abuka got hurt. I said 2-3 weeks ago, let's not kid ourselves here. This is what an MVP looks like. And I said, Cleveland, it was a poor fit. It's a bitter fan base and an angry media poking them in the ribs. Tampa's chill. Todd Bowles, high IQ, high EQ, opening all the doors for him. Every weekend, more and more, Baker's the MVP of this league.
Where Colin was wrong.
Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers, 4-1. Are they going to wrap this division up in 4 to 5 weeks? Aaron right now, smartly, is getting rid of the ball from snap to getting rid of the ball faster than he has in his entire career. And I got to tell you, with the size of his targets in Pittsburgh, I think it's smart. There's no wow plays. He's not doing that. He's doing the back shoulder. He's accurate. He's completing 73%. This is an offense for the last 7 years. And this is not the best Aaron. This is old Aaron. This is an offense in the last 3 weeks. He's got a 112 passer rating. Now, I know he's got an advantage. That defense is gobbling up backup quarterbacks, but it looks good to me.
Where Colin was right?
I said New England, watch out. They're going to be the double the win total team in the NFL. This will be my 4th year in a row if I hit this. After the Raiders loss, I said, slow down. Between free agents and draft picks, they're starting like a dozen new guys. Don't freak out. When they lost to Pittsburgh, I said, let it play out. No team is starting more new bodies. Vrabel's brilliant guy. Drake May's really good. And this is one of those things where not all opening losses are the same. Detroit's obviously a good team. They got housed in the first game. New England lost to the Raiders. I kept saying, don't worry. They'll figure a way. They're building a culture, and we were right.
Where Colin was wrong.
I had Dante Moore as the number 1 pick last week. He got outplayed by Fernando Mendoza, and it wasn't particularly close. Couple of picks, minus 27 yards rushing, didn't see the field particularly well, sacked 6 times. Listen, Indiana's really good. Indiana's a really good football team and really well coached, but Dante Moore, it did not look great. Let's just be honest about this. It was a really, really bad game considering the quality of the staff and the quality of Oregon talent. This was a stinker.
Where Colin was right?
Well, I said the Dolphins, I don't trust the culture and the head coach. Here was Tua after losing to the LA Chargers. Listen to this.
I think it starts with the leadership in helping articulate that for the guys, and then what we're expecting out of the guys, right? We're expecting this. Are we getting that? Are we not getting that? We have guys showing up to player-only meetings late, guys not showing up to player-only meetings. Like, there's a lot that goes into that. It's a lot of things of that nature that we got to get cleaned up.
Yeah, it's a little late. 3 picks. Had the game won. Tua basically saying is, yeah, we don't have a culture here of accountability. Not good.
Where Colin was right?
Let's wrap it up with this. The Mariners take a 1-0 lead in the American League Championship Series. I said 2 weeks ago, despite having the number 15 payroll, they are a more balanced, even team than the Yankees. They can defend. They have good starting pitching. Right now, opposing hitters in the playoffs are hitting a $183 on Mariners pitching. Mendoza's a great closer. They can hit for power, station-to-station baseball. They can do whatever you want. It's a very complete team. You know, Cal Raleigh's their star. There's no question. They're not as star-studded as a team like the Yankees, but the Yankees don't do a lot well outside of hit home runs. Mariners, I believe, will make the World Series, and they'll face the Brewers when they get there. Colin right, Colin wrong. There is so much going on. Let's not waste any time. It's J-Mac with the news.
No. Turn on the news. This is the Herdline News.
All right, Colin, let's start with college football. Indiana taking down Oregon was a major upset. Your boy Dante Moore, his offensive line let him down. I think that was the big story. I didn't think he was terrible. I thought the offensive line was total trash. But the real story here is Curt Cignetti. This guy has hit the Big Ten like a comet, and he talked about the difference between last year's Hoosiers and this year's Hoosiers after the big win.
Last year, I was the way I was because I thought I needed to be taking over this program, kind of lead the charge the way I was out there a little bit. I knew that early on in December, okay? I thought we established credibility last season. Our team was in a good place. The most important thing to me was our mindset going into this game. That we believed, expected, prepared to make it happen, and could handle the ups and downs of the game without flinching, showing frustration and anxiety.
Yeah, I mean, there's an argument. Ohio State's the best team in the country, and Indiana's second. Texas A&M's pretty good, but I don't know. I mean, last year Ohio State won the Natty. They went to Oregon, and they couldn't pull this off. Dante Moore was on fire. They got after Dante Moore, got sacked 6 times. Yeah. And I don't think you leave this job to go to Penn State. Penn State right now is a bit of a hot mess. Bloomington's a great place to live. It's one of the best college towns.
Bloomington. Have you been there? I've never been there.
Oh, yeah. Great top 10 college town. It's a great place, middle of the country. You know, weather's not ideal. It's not ideal in Penn State.
Certainly not.
If you've got the NIL money, his staff is being well compensated. And by the way, Indiana, again, now that they're winning, well, watch what this Oregon win does for recruiting. Yeah. Watch what it does. You may find another couple $1 million in the NIL. off a win like this.
Yeah. Well,
So
first of all, sorry to back up a little. Miami Hurricanes, you forgot about them. They're certainly one of the top.
Yeah, they're very
two
good.
teams. But Indiana is right there, knocking on the door. I do need to ask you, if you're the Hoosiers and you see all these coaches getting run around the country, Oregon State fired their coach. We're in early October, Colin. I wonder, do you go to Cignetti and say, hey, bro, we know the big boys are coming after you. We want to lock you up. We want to go from $8 million a year to, what did they boost him to, 12? I mean, Colin, in 2 years, he's made Indiana football relevant. I couldn't tell you one Indiana player, 5-10 years ago. Could you? I don't remember when they were good at football.
Again, Indiana's in the Big Ten. Penn State's in the Big Ten. Now, Penn State has more history, probably has a little bit more money. They got a huge Adidas deal.
Yeah.
But I don't know. He's in his 50s. He may not want to bounce around anymore. You know what I mean?
He's 64. He's getting up there in age.
Oh, is he 64 years old?
He was, I graduated from JMU. He was at JMU and then left for Indiana and brought a ton of his players.
Yeah.
So it's like Belichick's just grabbing guys in the portal. Cignetti got specific guys, his own, that fit his system. So it was a seamless transition. I think he's going to listen, we got a Michigan guy on staff who's like, listen, I would take him in a heartbeat over Sharon Moore, who is he was the interim guy. Remember you with your whole interim thing? Harbaugh kind of handpicked him. I don't know if Sharon Moore's long for Michigan. Does Cignetti get a bite from the Wolverines? The dude is killing it right now. We'd agree on that, right?
Oh, yeah. Winning at Autzen just doesn't happen. People don't go there and win. Ohio State couldn't go there and win. It's one of the loudest places. I don't know. I don't know if I would. I don't think I'd move. I don't want to go into that Penn State mess. I don't know.
By the way, you remember last week I told you the biggest college football bettor I know was on Indiana +7. And I was reluctant. I did pull the trigger. But some people out there know I did not think that game was going to be close, Colin. That was one of the biggest surprises of the season. Because we know Oregon's good.
Well, because USC throttling Michigan was not a surprise. That should be noted.
All right, let's move on, Colin, to your boy, Baker Mayfield. Man, Tampa Bay 5-1, looking like a legit contender in the NFC. One of my favorite plays was after this Baker scramble, just elusive stuff, almost like a page out of Justin Herbert's book. He throws a bomb touchdown to Tez Johnson, young fella, who catches it like a fingertip touchdown catch. This was spectacular.
He was an Oregon kid, yeah.
Then Tez flips, and after the game, he was like, I heard MVP chants. And then a teammate woke him up and was like, bro, it's not about you.
Baker, this city has rallied around you. This fan base loves you. When you had that epic run in the chance MVP, start rating it, how does it make you feel?
It's week 6, so got a big one next week. So it's awesome to have the support. Don't get me wrong, but we're just getting started.
A mature Baker Mayfield.
He's a different dude now. Remember what he used to
Don't say he doesn't
favorite?
like that. He doesn't like when you say that.
No, he's different. Colin, he used to favorite my tweets when he was coming out of Oklahoma, where I was like, I don't know if this guy's going to make it as a pro. It wasn't like his team either. That was him. He would look on social media and exact revenge on those people. He's grown up a lot. Now, I will just point out, when you have a good weekend, you start looking at the card. Bucks at Lions this week. Tampa Bay riding high. They might be number 1 in the herd hierarchy. Detroit? You feeling the Lions?
Detroit's not going to have their safety branch, and Baker lives on the deep ball.
Yes. You taking Tampa, huh? Just a heads up.
I'm not betting against Baker right now. He is on a Cal Raleigh streak. I'm not betting against him.
Smart. I've lost some money betting against Baker this season. Final story, Colin. Let's move to your other favorite quarterback, Sammy D. Slinging Sammy Darnold. I think I texted you yesterday on the JSN touchdown. I mean, look at this strike. In stride. I mean, Darnold is clicking on all cylinders. Here's Sam Darnold after dispatching the Jags 20-12.
Last year, they never played us in single high safety, which I'm not sure I've ever seen in a game before. And they kind of took advantage of me being a little greedy out there. And I told myself I was going to, take what they give me, and if they give me a check down, I'm going to take it today. A great team, and, we're really excited about, kind of where we're at as a team and, the result of this one.
Yeah, Seattle they got some dudes, and they're a young team Green Bay kind of young team. Sometimes they're not. I mean, they should have closed this game down about an hour before they did.
Right.
But it was my second favorite bet of the week. My first is tonight, Washington. But I see Jacksonville, 10 penalties, turnovers. I mean, Jacksonville, coming off that Kansas City win, you knew they were going to step back. You knew they wouldn't be able to handle. It's not about how do you handle losing. It's how do you handle success. And Jacksonville did not play particularly well.
Well, so you love Seattle. You tried to talk me into it, and I said 3 guys in the secondary are down. I can't do it. I'm an idiot for that. Let me just point out that one of the craziest stats I saw from Sunday, the Seattle Seahawks had 17 quarterback hits. 17, Colin. That's more than Justin Fields got hit, and he was sacked 9 times. So I don't know what happened with the Jags offensive line, but if Seattle's D-line plays like that, and they get their guys in the secondary back, you know, we got 3 teams that are 4-2 in the NFC West. I mean, we would agree San Fran is a little behind due to the injuries.
Yes.
We think the Rams, now Puka, it sounds like he's going to miss this week in London. So I think the Rams take maybe a step. Is Seattle going to win the division and Cowherd's going to have called another one in the offseason, right?
Seattle is young, and the good news about being young is when you get banged up, players get healthy faster. So all I know, I always use the turn the audio down when you watch a game. Kansas City looks fast. Kansas City just looks, and Seattle looks too good not to be a playoff team. They look fast. They get after it. Like them. J-Mac with the news.
Well, that's the news.
And thanks for stopping by.
The Herd Line News.
Eagles,
Panthers.
Vikings, keep your eye on that. There's a couple interesting lines this weekend.
Oh, yeah, Panthers, Jets? Does that get you excited?
No. Keep your eye on the Colts and the Chargers.
Yes.
I'm not even going to give away. I mean, what was I this week? I forgot. 4-0. Keep your eye on that Colts line. Very interesting. So a couple years ago, I said this. NBA players, especially stars, have often spoken out against their coaches. Like, you don't do that in the NFL. But I got Tua 2 or 3 times kind of calling out Mike McDaniel. And I'll get to it in a second, but a member of the Jets called out Aaron Glenn, the coach. So what I saw yesterday was bewildering how bad it was. Before half, the Jets tried a fake punt. Risky, given the situation. They convert it. And the next play, they run. Like, what are you doing? If you're going to risk that, then go into the 2-minute offense. What are you doing? And then, Justin Fields, it just doesn't make any sense. They have him, Justin Fields, in the second half, something happened. He would not let go of the ball. And there were times he had ample time to throw. So Garrett Wilson confronts the coach on the sideline on going for it on the fake punt. And then the first play is a running play. Like, dude, 2-minute offense. Let's go. Kurt Warner couldn't figure it out. The announcers are bewildered. And Garrett Wilson, after the game, was upfront about it.
I just didn't know exactly what the plan was. And once I figured it out, I was disappointed. I'll just say that. Once we, converted the 4th down, I just thought we were going for the, trying to make the play. And then obviously we get to another 4th down, and it's a tough spot to be in. So, in hindsight, I get why they did that. But in the moment, I was just like, man, I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's so organizationally, think about this. So you pay $40 million, $30 million guaranteed to Justin Fields, who's athletic, but he's regressed badly. That's on the Jets. I mean, Aaron Rodgers leaves the Jets. Look at the year he's having. Justin Fields had a pretty good 6-game stretch, goes to the Jets. Look what's happened to him. This is the Sam Darnold thing. We can keep blaming the players, but Sam Darnold is a top 10 quarterback in the league now. He looked like he was a bust in New York. Aaron Rodgers looked old in New York. He actually looks good. Justin Fields, I said, 4-2 in Pittsburgh. He looked pretty good. They moved him to the bench. Jets are like, okay, we'll pay for it. Everybody stinks in New York. They can't get the GM right. They can't get the trades right. They can't get the players right. So I can keep blaming the quarterback, but I would have gone to Tyrod Taylor in the second half. I would have kicked a field goal to win it. But Justin Fields last year did not look like that. Sam Darnold, watch him now. It didn't look like that. This is an organizational hazmat spill. This is the worst team. Tennessee, I think, has a worse roster. The Jets are the worst team. And so what do? Do you fire the coach? Well, it's got a very Freddie Kitchens feel to it, where it just doesn't feel like some guys are great position coaches. Some guys are great coordinators. Not all vice presidents can run the country. A lot of people are VPs. Not all VPs can run the company. That's okay. VP is a great gig. But nothing works for me. The explanations don't work. Garrett Wilson calling him out. The good news is there's a couple interesting quarterbacks who are going to be available. Dante Moore had a bad weekend. I still think he's really special. But, it's funny. Bruce Feldman's going to stop by next hour, and Albert Breer. The trading deadline is coming up. If I'm the Jets need a quarterback. But my question is, after watching Justin Fields, what if they get one with this staff, with this organization? Will it matter? I mean, honestly, you're watching Darnold. I'm watching him. Look what Carolina did to Baker Mayfield and Darnold. So some of these organizations in this sport, they're just not equipped to handle a quarterback. They don't know what they're doing. I mean, it's funny. Baker Mayfield can go to the Rams and Sean McVay and have one practice and then engineer a game-winning drive. Josh Dobbs goes, I think, from Arizona to the Vikings, and Kevin O'Connell, no practices, throws for 300 yards. I mean, the Jets are just not equipped, regardless of who the coach is. Could be Adam Gase, it's Aaron Glenn. They are not equipped to bring along a young quarterback that needs somebody to put their arms around him. They can't do it. The organization's not equipped to do it. So here's the NFL schedule coming up this weekend. Tonight, I'm going to take Washington over Chicago. I'll take Buffalo off a loss to New England over Atlanta. That's an easy one. I would say this when you look at this schedule. Yesterday, everybody thought Denver was going to blow out the Jets. Be very wary of the games that look like blowouts. We all thought Harbaugh was going to flex against Miami. He was furious. This is the time of the year when teams start getting banged up. The weather's going to cool down. Quarterback play is going to be different. I live in a part of the country now. It's getting cold, and the jackets are out. So all this 7-on-7 summer football is over. Can I spend a second on the Bears tonight, J-Mac? Because I think it's a fascinating game.
Sure.
Bears-Washington tonight. So I like Washington for two reasons. Number one, the Bears have not shown an ability to win on the road over the last several years. Here's the second thing. To win on the road, one of the things that's essential in winning on the road is, what does your defense do? As they say, defense travels well. The Bears give up the most yards per play in the NFL. Now think about that. So if you give up the most yards per play, what happens? Caleb Williams on the bench watching, getting out of rhythm. What have the Bears struggled with? Getting rhythm offensively. It's why I like Washington.
Well,
okay, breaking news. The Titans just announced that Brian Callahan has been fired.
Wow. Oh, my God. Ahead of the Vrabel revenge game this week. Patriots at Titans, Vrabel revenge spot. That lines up to 7. Wow, Callahan toast. So now you got to find somebody to fit Cam Ward's strengths, huh?
Well, the game yesterday, we know the Raiders aren't great, was not competitive.
Yeah.
So obviously the players... So James Franklin fired yesterday.
Yeah.
Brian Callahan, he's
well,
strong.
if you're the Titans, Colin, you're getting ahead of the Jets and whoever else may fire the coach. You could hit the ground running with who you want to go after. I'll just say this. You're going to want an offensive coach, obviously. Now, Callahan was, but you've got a young quarterback. You don't want to go hire a defensive guy, do you? I can't imagine that.
I mean, I watched it yesterday. They're last in total offense, last on third down, and he's an offensive coach.
I mean, they were down Ridley, but I don't think it mattered. You're right. It just doesn't look aesthetically pleasing or, remotely good.
How about Kirk Cignetti?
He's not going to the NFL. Come on.
I wouldn't upgrade in the Big Ten. I'd take a call from the NFL. I'd go Saturday to Sunday. I'm not going Indiana to Penn State. I'd go Saturday to Sunday. I'd take the call. That's my MVP if I had a vote today. And with that, Monday morning quarterback, Albert Breer, kind enough to join us live today. And, breaking news, we're setting it up for you on First Tee. So the lad just saw this by Matt Harmon tweeted this. The last 4 quarterbacks taken first overall, all 4 of their coaches have been fired. Urban, Frank Reich, Matt Eberflus, Brian Callahan. All 4 have been fired during the rookie season. So I watched the Raiders Titans. It was a pretty lifeless performance. Did the team kind of quit on him? What are you hearing?
Well, first of all, now you see why there are stories like Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold with that fact that you laid out, right? Like a lot of these guys go to bad situations. It's no wonder they don't make it their first shot. I mean, I think this was just sort of where the team was going. I don't know that anybody quit on Brian Callahan, but certainly they looked lifeless at several different points over the first month and a half of the season. They've got a new general manager in there. And this is starting to feel with that organization, Colin, like the cat chasing the tail. I just tweeted this out. I'll take you through the timeline. In December 22, they fire John Robinson as their GM. They hire Rand Carthon to replace him. A year after that, they fire Mike Vrabel. They promote Chad Brinker from assistant GM over Rand Carthon. They hire Brian Callahan as head coach. A year after that, they fire Rand Carthon, bring in Mike Borgonzi. And now just 9 months after that, they're firing Brian Callahan. So clearly there are some issues at the top here. And, I think number one right now is how you're going to create the right environment for your young quarterback so you don't become another one of these cautionary tales. Like, look at what Sam Darnold had to deal with early in his career. Look at what Baker Mayfield had to deal with early in his career. Obviously, those guys we're going to benefit from being in better situations. If you're the Titans right now, job number one is to make sure that you're not the next of those cautionary tales. And obviously, they've given themselves some runway here to figure out who their next head coach is going to be.
Okay, speaking of that, the Jets yesterday, look at not just Darnold, Justin Fields last year in Pittsburgh, pretty redeemable. They pay him $30 guaranteed. Yesterday, there were times in the second half, and I wouldn't do this often. I would have taken him out. He had time. He froze. Like, this organization, if they get the number 1 pick, I think I'd stay in college. I mean, what do you do? This has a Freddie Kitchens feel where it's just like, this doesn't work. They're doing nothing well. What do you do with the Jets?
I'm a little stunned that it looks the way that it does, and that they look as listless as they have. Like, yesterday was the first representative performance they've gotten from the defense, right? Like, they actually played decent on defense after allowing around 30 points a game over the first 5 weeks of the season. And that's a defense, by the way, that played well under Robert Saleh. It has representative talent: Quinnen Williams, Jermaine Johnson, Will McDonald, Quincy Williams, Jameen Sherwood, Sauce Gardner, guys they paid, guys that were drafted in the first round. They're all over the defense. The offensive line they've invested in. They've got good players up front now, even with the injury to Oliveira Tucker, Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall. Like, there are good players on the roster. And this does not feel like what Aaron Glenn walked into in Detroit when he was Dan Campbell's defensive coordinator 4 years ago. So it's really tough to explain why they've been so listless through 6 weeks. And, certainly I think, looking back on what happened in Detroit in 2021 gives you the roadmap for getting out of it, right? They started that year 0-9, 0-10-1. They wound up going 3-3 in their last 6 games. It gave them a lot of hope. But I would say that, like, early on in Detroit, we saw more fight, I think, than what we're seeing from the Jets right now. So they got to get it turned around. And again, like, I think that if you're Aaron Glenn, you're hanging your hat on, I'm going to create some excitement in December and January for where this team is going in 2026. Because, again, I don't think they're devoid of talent. I think if you look at that roster, you see a lot of good players.
Okay, I got to tell you, Philadelphia, the faucet broke. It was a drip, drip, drip. The faucet broke. I know they're banged up on the offensive line, but go look at what Mac Jones did and Baker Mayfield are doing over the last 3 weeks with beat-up teams. I mean, Justin Herbert is pulling rabbits out of a hat. They got third string everything. And I look at Philadelphia, I don't want to hear about it. They have more depth than anybody in the league. Could they make a coordinator change in the middle of a season? Because it's not working.
I'd be surprised, although, Nick Sirianni did, turn over his staff a couple of years ago. You remember they lose Shane Steichen and Jonathan Gannon after that Super Bowl. And they made the change from Sean Desai to Matt Patricia in the middle of the 2023 season, I think it was, right? And then they fired Brian Johnson, their offensive coordinator, after that year. went with new coordinators in Fangio and Kellen Moore in 24, and we know the rest. So they haven't been shy about doing these things in the past. It would surprise me on offense, although I do think they've got an identity crisis right now on that side of the ball. If they did that to Kevin Patullo after he paid his dues the way that he did to work his way into that role, I think they're going to give him some time to figure it out. Obviously, the run game hasn't been the same as it was last year, and that bar was set really high. And I think what you're seeing now is part of the reality with Jalen Hurts. Very good quarterback, but he's not the same guy when the run game isn't working the way that it was in 2024. And so they got to find a way to get that run game going. And then, again, I think after that happens, a lot of other things fall into place. But it does feel like there's a little bit of an identity crisis where when they've struggled with the run game, they've gotten away from it a little bit. And that's where I think they get tangled up and look a little bit dysfunctional on offense.
Okay, trading deadline is coming up. Let's talk good teams. I think the Rams could use a corner. I think I'll tell you this. I'll throw this out. If you're the Chargers, knowing Joe Alt's coming back, go get a swing tackle regardless, because this is not just about winning games. It's about protecting Justin Herbert. Let's talk Chargers. If you're Harbaugh, Denver now is winning ugly. Kansas City looks legit. I mean, Harbaugh, I wonder if they don't make a move. Quentin Johnson didn't play. What do the Chargers do when you're worried about, good God, look at Herbert. He's getting hit 15 times a game. What do you do there?
All right, so you're going to get, Amari and Hampton back. You're going to get Joe Alt back, like you said. You're going to get Quentin Johnston back, right? I think you have to assess your depth at the tackle position. It's hard to find offensive linemen, Colin. You know as well as I do, there aren't enough of them to go around. And if you have good ones, you sign them, you keep them, right? But I think the Chargers do have to consider this. Here's the reason why. I think anybody in this situation would consider it. Why is it more important for the Chargers? I think this is a little bit like the Giants 15 or 20 years ago, where so much of their identity ran behind that defensive line, right? Like playing without Joe Alt and Rashawn Slater is almost like if those Giants teams had to play without Strahan, Umanure, and Tuck all at once, right? It's just, that was the personality of the team. That was the strength of the team. It's why Jerry Reese kept feeding that part of the team, because he knew if I lose one of these guys, that can't become a weakness. It has to be a strength. And they've invested so much in making that offensive line what it was coming into the year. Then they lose Rashawn Slater. And so I don't think they'll be afraid to overinvest in the offensive line, because same way those Giants teams, their identity ran through the defensive line, the identity of this Chargers team runs through the offensive line. I just think it's really tough to find guys at those positions in season, because if you have good ones, you're not letting them go.
Hey, I'm going to throw this at you. Chicago, Washington tonight. So, I think I said this before the USC-Michigan game. With Notre Dame on deck, USC had to win, and after getting pushed around by Illinois, they had to win physical. Check. They did. So Chicago comes out of a bye. Okay, you can't come out of a bye and have operational problems with your offense. I think this is a real test for Caleb and Ben. Privately, and this is where you come in, Albert Breer joining us for the radio audience, Monday Morning Quarterback. You could lose tonight, but you better look the part off a bye if you're Caleb. What are you hearing in Chicago?
I'm excited to see what they look like tonight, actually, because I think for the Bears, having the early bye, most teams hate having the bye that early, right? Because that means, all right, now we got to play 12 or 13 weeks in a row, and that's tough, right? As the season goes on. Yeah, I think in the first year of Ben Johnson's program, the Bears almost looked at it as a little bit of an advantage because of the teaching progression with Caleb and the rest of the offense, right? And you and I have been over this. We went over it in the summer where Ben was trying to feed Caleb with a fire hose early in the year, which is why at the beginning of training camp, it didn't look very good. Let's see what he can handle. And over the course of time, we'll narrow down what we're giving him. We'll figure out what he's doing well, and we'll lean into that. And so, having the early bye gives them the chance to have an early reset where they could look at the first 5 weeks of the season and say, okay, or the first 4 weeks of the season and say, okay, here's what we did well, here's what we didn't do well, and here's what we're going to be offensively over the last 13 weeks of the season. So tonight's the first chance we get to see it. I think we are going to see some moving parts there as far as what they looked like over the first month versus what they look like now. And I'm with you. Like, I think that this is an opportunity for them to clean up a lot of the things that went wrong over the first 4 weeks. And you would hope this is going to be the start of the completion of what their identity is going to be for the rest of the season, and that they have had that chance to look at what they do well and what they don't do well.
Okay, so Brian Callahan fired. For the record, Mike McDaniel, Tua called out apparently the staff again after that game. I think McDaniel would get a job in 5 minutes as a coordinator. I think certain guys that maybe not have that classic alpha, a little bit more beta personality, make them great coordinators. Do you think Miami makes a move on their coach in the near future?
So, like, I'm not, like, I would never advocate for an owner going and checking in on his locker room, right? Like, because I think that undercuts the head coach. You're basically creating an appeals court if you do that, right?
Right.
Like, I think Mark Davis did it with Josh McDaniels a couple of years ago, and it wound up resulting in the hire of Antonio Pierce. That was based on what really three guys thought. It was Josh Jacobs, Devontae Adams, and Max Crosby. And lo and behold, less than a year later, two of those three guys were off the roster. They weren't even there anymore, right? So I don't think you want to do that. But I think if you are upper management in Miami, it's important that you get a pulse for the locker room and you're creative in finding a way to figure out where the locker room is at on Mike McDaniel. I love Mike McDaniel as an offensive coach. Here's the thing. That first players only meeting, right? That first players only meeting happened after the opener. That was alarming how early that happened. That got the attention of a lot of other coaches around the league, right? And now for your quarterback to stand up there and offer up that these are almost a regular occurrence, right? Like how casually he said, like, our players only meetings, like guys are being late to them, like they're happening all the time now, I think would concern me. And the other thing that would concern me here, Colin, it's just as far as the makeup of your locker room and your team is, like, your quarterback is getting up there and saying this stuff and saying, like, well, players are late. Like, what are we going to do? This is a guy who's wearing a C on his chest, right? Like, isn't it part of your responsibility to make sure that everybody's there, that everybody's locked in? Because that's something that goes beyond just the coaching, you know? And look, the locker room had been an issue last year. They tried to clean it up and trading guys like Jalen Ramsey away and emphasizing character in the offseason. But to still be here after all of that and still be here after this apparent series of players-only meetings, I think you got to figure out where your locker room is on its head coach. And the tricky thing is I don't think you can do that by going directly to the players. I think you got to creatively figure out where they're at and then make your decision from there. Because if it is at a point where, like, they're just tuning the coaching staff out, then that becomes a bigger problem where you're creating a tough environment for young players to grow in.
Albert Breer, Monday Morning Quarterback. Great stuff. Appreciate you stopping by in our hour 3 today. Thanks, bud.
All right. Thanks, Colin.
Yeah, Brian Callahan been fired. I've been very reluctant to talk USC today, not because it was not significant, but I don't want to be crazy guy out here just because I wear occasional Trojan gear. But it was not lost on me how they just pushed around one of those tough, cold weather Big Ten teams. Anybody else notice that? Unfortunately, they have a tough, cold weather ACC team coming up in Notre Dame, which is, I don't think, a very good matchup. But I did take note of the big, tough, cold weather Big Ten team literally just saying, okay, we don't want to compete.
Well, Notre Dame is one of those teams that's dominant in the trenches. Do you think USC has a shot here?
Well, no, I think they're an 8-point dog. That's the number. Yeah, 28-20, 30-23, 27. That's a tough ask. Notre Dame is better than Michigan.
You want to make a road trip to South Bend? I might be able to meet you. I got some friends going to the game.
Yeah, I got a lot of friends going to the game. We'll see.